Hey guys, and welcome. Before we start the video, massive shout out to everyone I saw over on Creative Assembly's Twitch channel supporting me as I did their event this weekend. It was super good fun, but now we're back in action in the battlefield in our comfort zone up against Seraph number 4, and it is the Dino Boys. In fact, we're bringing Oxyotl's sub-faction today just to send a message, and we're up against the Empire, so it should be a good fun game. And of course, come on, you can't go with the Ghosts of Pohawk, I believe it was their sub-faction is called, without bringing Oxyotl the Great. Master Predator has been popped. The Doomslayer comes out from the shadows to bring death to his enemies once more, and today we have a hit list out on Karl Franz. With Oxyotl not bringing his magical blowpipe, unfortunately, I don't think it's actually super useful, but of course always coming in with that Master Predator, giving us the snipe and unspotable. It is just too good to leave at home. He's going to be escorting triple chameleon skinks in the front line to bring the pain in the long-range game, really trying to take down pistoliers, harass Karl Franz, and be very wary of enemy cavalry. In the main battle line, we've got a big old thick juicy line of Saurus Warriors, 4 of them, and in fact 5 of them, 2 of them spears guarding the flanks and 3 regular ones in the middle, backed up by a load of skink cohorts of javelins. And we're actually going to be deploying them today behind the front line rather than on the flanks, use them in a similar way to dwarf miners with blasting charges, where sometimes you put them in that second rank so they can definitely use up all their ammunition and get some juicy value. On the left-hand side, we also have double Feral Stegodon. They're more to deal with Volkmar the Grim in case he is being brought, but my opponent has too much class for that and instead is going to be coming in with Karl Franz. But hey, Feral Stegodons can do a lot of damage to enemy cavalry, tear out a lot of their troops, and be a general pain in the butt. And on the right-hand side, we have a Feral Bastillodon, I suppose the unloved younger brother of the Stegodons. I've given the Feral Bastillodon quite a bad name over the years. I do like the Archosotek and the Solar Engine, but this little fella I did put at the very bottom of my Lizardmen tier list. We'll see if he can prove me wrong today, and I'll give him a little neck scratch as well, just to let him know, even though I think he's the worst dinosaur of the bunch, he's still a relatively solid geezer. For my opponent, we do have double pistoliers on the left-hand side. I'm not actually that worried about them threatening the Stegodons, because they really lack AP and we have 110 armor, but they can be a big problem for my chameleons if they catch them. We also have double Empire Knights down here I need to be a little bit careful of. And in the main battle line, it is basically an unbreakable wall of lunatics of Sigma. Sigma Sons in the front, the Regiment Renowned, and all the lunatics backing them up as well. In the rear, we have some spearmen and some more knights on the other flank, and then 1 and 2 and 3 units of huntsmen looking to bring the long-range pain to Dino, Skink, and Saurus alike. Down on the ground, we have a Jade Wizard with Flesh to Stone, Earth, Blood, and Regrowth. You're almost always going to see a Jade Wizard when you see the Emperor himself being brought forth, but we have the man, the myth, the legend, Karl Franz, and he's going to be flying to battle today on Deathclaw. 100% the way to go if you're going to bring him, in my opinion. Coming in with Galmaraz as well as the Reichland Runefang. Stand your ground, Foe Seeker, and hold the line. He looks like a badass, but we're going to be trying to fill him up with as many blowpipe darts as physically possible, and instantly we are going to start beelining for him with all our chameleon skinks. We're going to be a little bit careful and fall back to close territory and close friends. But force Karl Franz, and he does take the first volley there. Oxyotl as well can do some massive damage to threats like this over the course of a battle, and he's still launching shots up. 1 connects and 1 misses. I'm re-rotating my entire build around now, almost doing a complete restart again on my deployment. Just moving all my Saurus around, looping them around as I see my opponent is going to be coming in with a big flank overload through the trees. Empire Knights, Pistoliers, I don't know what's there fully, I can't see everything yet. And there's also the Huntsman, so I was like, okay, we're going to take a step back, we can harass and poke where possible, and then fall back and defend our lines. Over on this far side, the Pistoliers been a bit of a pain in the butt. They're not going to do that much damage to Stegodons, but hey, I don't like it, so we're going to be moving ourselves back and just pushing them away, using some skink cohorts just to ward them off, saying, hey, if you get a little bit closer, I'm going to be throwing some javelins at you. The chameleon skinks doing a fantastic job now, just focusing down these 0 armor troops in the front and doing some pretty good work and just kiting back, trying to dodge as many of the huntsman shots as physically possible. Oxyotl is just picking apart Karl Franz. Time after time, I'm going to be whittling him down. Though we do need to kill that Jade Wizard, because simply doing damage to Franz isn't enough if he can be healed up. We are starting to throw some of our javelins into the front line, which is going to do some decent work and allow our Saurus to chew through the front line that bit quicker, because they've got a tough job today going up against a lot of these unbreakable troops. We have a load of javelins aiding them out, though, as well as the blowpipes continuously firing in from the chameleon skinkies. Feral Stegodons don't really have a home at the moment. The Huntsmen have started targeting them down, so I need to move them out of range. Pistoliers consistently being a threat in the back line, but not really hitting too many targets. I did forget to mention earlier, I do have a little Skink Priest as well, coming with Harmonic Convergence, Wind Blast, and the Commodore Casadora for a little bit of swagger. We do push forward, trying to engage with the Empire Knights and hopefully open up a pocket for our skinks to fall through, but my opponent doesn't really buy it. He kind of moves up and around and then drags himself in for a lovely, lovely flank attack into the Saurus Warriors, ramming them with the lances and maybe sending them packing, but Saurus are cold-blooded. They'll hold the line a decent amount of time. However, Karl Franz is trying to get over there and assist where possible. Both the Stegodons really haven't been used that much yet. I'm just trying to keep them out of harm's way, but I'm going to now get a little bit aggressive and move forward. But the Huntsmen are doing some really good focus fire, actually make one of my Feral Stegodons go completely out of control. Luckily, he's heading in the direction of the enemy lords. We have some Spearmen and Skinks trying to pin in all this cavalry. Karl Franz is going after the Feral Bastiladon, which isn't too good news for my Feral Bastiladon. It's got, well, garbage stats. But we do buff them up there with Harmonic Convergence, trying to keep it in the game a little bit. 46 melee attack now and 52 melee defense is much better. Cold-blooded as well to try to stabilize that leadership. But Karl Franz has Regrowth and Galmaraz. He's having quite an easy time up against the Feral Bastiladon, sadly. Skink cohorts are eventually going to be dragging their way through this front line. We can then start to apply some pressure to this Jade Wizard or the Huntsman in the back. But for the most part, my opponent's done a really good job protecting these guys. Even with all the pressure we're trying to do with the Saurus, the Stegodon as well just got bogged down in Empire Knights, and now the Huntsmen are getting some really good value. Very close game so far. Chameleon Skinks are going to continue to kite backwards and try to do damage to the Pistoliers where possible. We still have this Feral Stegodon who's very healthy, charging in at the Empire Knights, trying to gouge gigantic wounds out of their thick plates with his mighty tusks. Poor little Feral Bastiladon has been sent packing. He might be able to come back here, though. He still has a decent amount of HP. And Oxiotl, this is how good he is. He's still hidden right now, right next to these enemies, just doing some 360 no-scopes, up to 20 kills, always trying to hit Karl Franz every time he gets near me. The Feral Stegodon, I realized it was basically probably dead, and we were trying to hunt down the Huntsman just to apply some pressure, but unfortunately he's getting surrounded by the rather brave men of the Empire, pinning him in place and allowing the archers to do their hunting work. The other Feral Stegodon is now charging down Karl Franz. He no longer has Galmaraz popped, so he should be able to do a relatively decent job dueling him, though the Huntsman support pressure is a little bit painful for us. We do also have our own Chameleon Skinks moving up to target down Franz as well, so these mighty behemoths of war fighting it out whilst their homies try to support from the wings. Oxiotl rotating around a little bit to get some decent shots in, but Karl Franz, he's slayed many a beast in his time, and he's not having it too much of a problem. We go for the super risky Comet of Cassandora, hoping my opponent isn't paying attention, and he's far too good. He exactly knows what I'm up to. We do try to drive him back into the Comet, and we get some damage, but nothing too crazy. Empire Knights do charge in. Luckily, I have some Saurus Spears nearby to try to fend them off, and all the Chameleons are just focusing down Karl Franz, having a whale of a time doing some really lovely damage. Unfortunately, the Stegodon does shatter, but he lives, and that's all that we care about. He's going to go home, and you've been in a good shift, buddy. You can go back to Lustria and enjoy your retirement. Now, the little Skink Priest is getting jumped, but we have so much fire support with these Chameleons. We've got the Skinks nearby, we've got Oxiotl. Karl Franz is taking a lot of damage, yet he is going to get an Earthblood and maybe risk an attack down on Oxiotl. He does. He's diving in, trying to assassinate our Lord. The Doomslayer himself is juking back and forth. Now you see me, now you don't, as he retreats back towards his Chameleon Skinks, and look at the damage being poured onto Franz. He's poisoned, nuking his stats, and taking way too much damage to really take this fight, and he is rather wisely gonna fall back. I think that's a good play by my opponent. In the main battle line, we have started to win. The Saurus just grinding through the state troops, something they're fantastic at doing. The Huntsmen have been protected well, but they are starting to run a little bit low on ammunition, and balance power slightly in our favor, but remember that Jade Wizard is still alive, and they can heal up Karl Franz, making him a powerhouse once more. For some reason, I do have some Chameleon Skinks all the way over here. I do not know what I was doing with them. I noticed them about this part in the battle and was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to bring them back and try to get them back into the action. Saurus Spears going to rally around Oxiotl as he attempts to chase down that pesky Karl Franz and get close to him. My opponent's really trying to keep far away now from my center of my army, realizing I have tons of Chameleon Skinks still left alive. We are releasing some shots now into the Pistoliers, driving them away once more, and Skinks are starting to overcome the Spearmen, who have just been through absolute hell for Sigma today. They're going to get some support with the Empire Knights. We have a load of Saurus nearby, a load of Chameleons. We should be able to drag down the situation and hopefully force my opponent once again onto the defensive. Saurus Spears are moving up now to deal with the Empire Knights. Saurus Warriors are engaging with the Huntsmen, and Huntsmen, they like to fight at range. They don't really like to be taken on the scaly beasts of the lizards in such close quarters. The Knights, once again, have been bouncing all around the battlefield, trying to come to their assistance, but the Saurus are simply too stalwart. They don't like running, they're cold-blooded, they've got ice in their veins, and even another charge into a beat-up unit of Saurus Warriors, the Saurus Warriors don't give a damn, forcing back the Knights, dragging them into the muck and crushing their armor with stone clubs. Oxyotl is in the danger zone right now, but he's supported by a Saurus Spearman, so it's not the end of the world. We're able to intercept those Pistoliers and drive them back, and with this, the bounce power is going very heavily in our favor. Saurus Warriors in the back are pushing away some of the Huntsmen, hopping on them. Karl Franz is going to dive down to engage. It's in the forest, so his stats will be getting slightly nuked there, as the Saurus Warrior is going to come in to try and poke him down from all sides. He does have stand your ground, meaning it's going to be relatively hard to hit him, but hey, damage is damage at the end of the day, and if we can poke him down with any of our spears, I'm a happy ducky, although it looks like he is able to force off the Saurus Spearmen. I'm going to be pushing forward with the Skinks. I don't think they've realistically got a good chance of catching the Huntsmen, but if I can make them waste their ammunition, it's fantastic, because the Saurus, they're so tanky now with what's left from my opponent, with almost no ammunition left, and we can simply poke Karl Franz down with Oxyotl. Still has 20 ammunition left. He gets so much when he first starts the battle. Chameleons are rallying back, Saurus are rallying back, and we're just trying to chase off and drive away as many units as possible. The Chameleons, on their long pilgrimage to find out the great plan, have returned to explain it to all of us, beat back some Empire Knights on the way, and that's a lot of ammunition. 12 volleys going to be coming back to the main battlefield. My opponent is trying to whittle down my Saurus and focus the Skink Priest at the same time with his Huntsman, but they've only got one volley left. And Oxyotl, I'm feeling pretty confident with him right now. We're going to be pushing forward, trying to get to Karl Franz and just do that last little bit of assassination. Looks like he did get healed up. He's up to 1,000, or was up to 1,300 HP, down to 1,200 with that volley. I think really cool about Oxyotl that some of you guys might not know, he does actually do scaling damage. So the amount of damage that this unit causes increases based on the amount of hit points the target has lost. So if you do a lot of damage to something, he's really good at helping finish it off. Up to only 39 kills, but he's been a really useful lord. Quite hard to snipe due to the fact he is unspottable. And has done some good damage to Karl Franz. Kept him at bay and really stopped him from getting too much work done, as the Chameleon Skinks are going to just obliterate him from all sides. Oxyotl trying to get the final kill. I don't know if he actually will. Karl Franz is jumping up into the sky once again, trying to avoid the blowpipes. Oxyotl does manage to catch the flank there of Deathclaw, but it is the Chameleons who drag him down. I don't know what it is about Karl Franz's falling animation. It just looks so funny to me as he goes down, and unfortunately, he is in the dirt. And with that, my opponent's build does crumble. The mighty Oxyotl, let's give him a little pat on the head, did absolutely fantastic. Well played to my opponent. Suref4 was a really chill dude. We were chatting in the kind of pre-lobby and stuff. If you do meet him on quick battles, he gets the thumbs up approval from me as a cool lad. So just say hi to him and have a good fun game. Well played as well. I think his build was pretty interesting. He uses Empire Knights really effectively to bounce around the battlefield. The problem was he just slowly started to lose that front line fight. And when that happens up against the Lizardmen, they can be really nasty to grind down if you don't have that long-range AP. Really fun to see Karl Franz in action. I think he did a pretty decent job of him dueling mighty dinosaurs, getting 1,637 damage value. But Oxyotl, the Doomslayer, 2,410 damage value, 40 kills. We don't see him that much in competitive play, which is a little disappointing now. People have kind of gone back to some more of the more traditional lords. We do see him now and again. He's not like completely gone, but seems like a little bit more of a niche pick. I really enjoy picking him up again and bringing him in these battles. I've done a few today actually. It's quite inspired by the Teach Me Total War stuff that we were doing this weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will go through the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units in a second, but if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe as well to the channel for more Total War Warhammer content. It helps out massively, and feel free to comment down below what you thought of the battle. There's a bucket ton of links in the description to my Twitch, to my Discord. You know the drill. Go check it out if you want to see all that goodness. But back to the fight. Oxyotl did prove to be the better warrior than Karl Franz on this day, managing to claim his prize with his loyal Chameleon Skinks. 40 kills, 5,618 damage dealt, but more importantly, 2,410 value. Really neutering Karl Franz, far more ineffective than he probably would have been previously. As for the Saurus Warriors, 730, 1,051, and 707 damage value on the combat ones. They're such a solid troop. I really do love them. The skink cohort, 591, 384, 311, and 631 damage value. So mixed bag. 2 of them paying for themselves, 2 of them not quite doing it, but all around a really solid unit. And I do quite like using them in that secondary battle line to ensure you get the javelins off, and then you can just move to plug in gaps or try to sliver through the formation to get into your opponent's back line. Chameleon skinks are a pain in the butt as always. 784 damage value, 913, and 605, all still with some ammunition left to give at the end. So again, alongside Oxyotl, really good at making Karl Franz just have to stay miles away from the battlefield. But if he brought Volkmar, we were prepared with the double Feral Stegodon and the Bastiladon, but as it was, they had to duel Karl Franz, and they didn't enjoy that quite as much. 260 damage value, 1,338, so only one Stegodon, really performing as it should do. King Priest of Heavens, only 336 damage value. We tried to get away with the cheeky Comet of Cassandora and the Wind Blast, but really he was brought for that harmonic convergence, which is most likely what allowed this Stegodon to get as much value as it did. The Saurus Spears, 96 and 88 kills, 1,411 damage dealt, and 1,020. Real big standouts for me was just that Saurus infantry. I love it for the Dino Boys. As for my opponent, Karl Franz, 1.6k damage value, 11k damage dealt, and 55 kills. He was trying to find like a home, but just couldn't quite do it. Again, killed the dinosaurs though, so not the worst performance from the Mad Lad. Jade Wizard, mainly here for the hills, still somehow got 66 damage value, and the infantry got butchered. The Sigma Sons, realistically, the only ones able to hold on long enough, and even them, only 330 value. As for the Huntsmen, they basically all used up their ammunition, which is really good play to my opponent, protecting them with that cavalry play. 740 damage value, 620, and 1,040, assisting Franz in mounting a couple more dino heads on his fire pace, or at least he would have if he didn't die here today. Empire Knights, 126, 93, and 66 kills. Really good counters to Chameleon Skinks in general, but likewise a lot of the forces that Lizardmen can bring in the infantry fight. They can grind down Saurus, but more importantly, run over all the Skinks. 830 damage value on this first unit, 780, and then 397. Pistolets, 122 and 146 damage value, just targeting the wrong units. They can't really do any damage to the Stegodons, and they were forced back and just kind of isolated for the majority of the game. Not too many good targets for them today. Most likely would have been better just running over the Chameleons or the Skink cohorts. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay or